Hello, everyone.
Good morning. Awesome.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Just making sure everything is up to speed here. Right on.
I'm just going to tag everybody so that we all get notifications.
Oops, sorry, this is wobbling a bit. We have the laptop today.
Oh, here, I'll just...
Oh, do you want to fix that?
Yeah, I'll
sorry.
fix it. Awesome. So today we're doing a masterclass. It just won't go up here. It's fine.
That's okay.
You can see
yeah.
us, yeah.
That's fine.
So today we're doing a masterclass on food tracking 101. I'm just going to tag everybody so that everybody gets a notification here. Everyone. Okay. And then everyone here. So yeah, wanted to go over kind of just food tracking because it's what we have most of our clients doing. We food track. That's how we got to where we are. So we wanted to kind of go over that and just say some points and yeah, so wanted to go over like why tracking matters to start here. So yeah, let's go into like why tracking is important, specifically with like using an app like MyFitnessPal, and there's other apps out there as well. But yeah, food tracking, weighing your food, inputting it into an app.
Yeah, so first of all, I think a lot of people nowadays like tracking, and I think it's becoming more normal, which is good. Before, tracking was viewed as like something that was like unsustainable, unhealthy, like you shouldn't track your food. It's going to cause like obsessive habits, you know what I mean? Like if you're...
Might have somebody saying hello.
Oh, okay. I think that was the iMac. Sorry.
We
have so many computers going right now. It's just everything's beeping. Anyways, what I was saying was tracking was typically like, I would say 14 years ago when I got into fitness, tracking was viewed as like something that was pretty new. And, you know, Weight Watchers was very big at the time. And that was when, you know, they were selling like desserts and things like that. And people were losing weight. And I think at the time, I remember my mom, for example, and I think a lot of my family as well, they thought like, including myself, thought like, oh, there must be some healthy version of this food that they're feeding people, right? If they're losing weight by eating cake
healthy
or something.
ingredient or something.
Yeah, something like that. Turns out that they were just they just had mastered portion control for people.
So guys, like Weight Watchers, like when you see like, I don't see very many like Weight Watchers products anymore, but you do see the bread is still definitely.
Yeah, like Weight Watchers is on its way out now.
Yeah,
because of tracking and the way fitness is evolving.
But Weight Watchers, what they would do is they would actually just portion control and track these items to make it lower calories so that they could fit within your day and you could still have bread. So people thought like, oh, this bread is the magic.
Yeah, and it was genius because they wouldn't tell you, oh, this is how many calories you're having or this is how many carbs, fats, and proteins you're having. They would just simply say it was a point system, right? Oh, this cake is 2 points, or this piece of, you know, chocolate, whatever, is 2 points. And so you would then tally up points at the end of the day, and if you're under your point total, you would lose weight.
But
and that's how they did it.
Why that's not sustainable though is because it doesn't actually teach you what macros are, what tracking is. So then when you leave the program, let's say for example with Weight Watchers,
you have absolutely no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, right?
Because they try to teach you that, you know, all food ingredients are linked to like a point system. And that's a horrible, horrible, horrible way of looking at food because you actually have no clue what you're doing and you're never going to track food. You're just going to continue to portion control using your eyeballs and just guessing how much you're eating, which is where tracking comes in. And so tracking is so, so important. I do not think tracking is unsustainable. I don't think tracking is unhealthy. And this might be a little bit of a controversial, oh my goodness. I knew I was going to blow that. Controversial topic.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think it's something that maybe should be taught like to people growing up. Like it's not like, you know, you think about like obesity in America, for example, right? If we're talking about that, right? It's very prevalent in the United States. And when me and Brittany went to the US, we noticed that as well. Like, okay, well there's a lot of people here that don't really take their health and fitness seriously, right? And like, you know, it's easy to not take your nutrition seriously to the point where you you kind of let yourself go, right? And that's okay. That's okay. It happens to all of us, or it has. But what I'm trying to say is, I have worked with so many people, and I have met a lot of people too, just in public, or people that I'm friends with, or for family with, where they look at tracking as like, I would never count calories. That is so against what I believe in. That is like, I would never want to teach my kids about tracking calories. I want my kids to just enjoy a meal guilt-free. And it's like, you can enjoy food guilt-free. You can enjoy food stress-free. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to maintain a healthy weight, right? Now, before I actually go down this road, I do want to note there are millions and millions and millions of people who are healthy weights or even in great shape and they don't track their calories. However, they were behaving that way their whole entire lives. Like, they had never gotten to the point where they were overweight, right? There's lots of like coaches and influencers and people on social media where they have been in shape their whole life. Like, they were always fed this way. And so maybe they haven't, really had to dive into tracking too deeply because they never needed to do it to change, or never needed to do it to really focus on losing a bunch of weight or something like that. So keep that in mind, okay? Yeah. But for the average person, learning how to track is such a game changer. It must be done because it is the only way for you. Sorry, I'll let you. Yeah, she wants to get in there so bad. Tracking is the only way, this is the last thing I'll say.
No, it's all good.
Tracking is the only way to know 100% how much food you're eating. It's that simple. That's what tracking is, right? If you track your workouts, you track your nutrition, you track your metrics at work, right? How else are you supposed to know if you're doing a good job or you're doing everything correctly, or if you're consuming a certain amount of food? You won't unless you're tracking.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you basically said it all. Just tracking. The other thing, just going back to the Weight Watchers, what we were talking about is like, for example, you may be obviously if you're a Weight Watchers, you're in a deficit. They have you in a deficit unknowingly to you if you weren't sure about food tracking, but like protein wouldn't be the forefront of the program, right?
No,
and so
no.
we go into like, if you're eating your body weight in protein or a sufficient amount of protein, you're actually going to be losing muscle in the process of losing weight, right? And so that's a big factor as well, is like the macro side of weight loss for sure. And that's what tracking helps you really understand. Okay, I'm having this much percent of fat a day, I'm having this much protein, I'm having this many carbs. And so I think tracking is just super useful, and you really get to learn and see everything so that eventually, we're not saying tracking forever, but you can eventually really understand portion control and potentially keep going on your own without having to track forever.
That's right, absolutely. And if you're just tuning in right now or tuning in a little bit here and watching later in the day or tomorrow, smash replay in the comment section, all of you. But what Brittany says is totally accurate. With Weight Watchers, protein was definitely not we're obviously using Weight Watchers here as a good comparison.
It's a good example.
Because a lot of people come from Weight Watchers and a lot of people are involved in Weight Watchers. Me and Brittany have been in Weight Watchers groups just to see how things are done, and I've seen a lot of people that transition from that point system to tracking. So it's just a good comparison to make that example, make that connection there. But Brittany's right. Pretty much all the Weight Watchers food that they're feeding people are going to be like sweet treats, things that people crave like pizza or burgers or something like that, but they're all going to be portion controlled, and there's going to be a point system attached to it. So it makes people feel like they're eating, bad foods. There's not really any bad foods per se. I mean, that's a different conversation. But in regards to actual, consuming foods that they enjoy on paper, that's what Weight Watchers does. And so they neglect the protein side of things.
Yeah, like I'd love to see kind of the macronutrient profile on somebody's Weight Watchers plan. I guarantee it wouldn't be something that we agree with. It'd be pretty crazy, yeah. But nonetheless, obviously it helps people lose weight because they're in a deficit and they're still able to eat these fun foods, let's say.
Yeah. And some people, and you know what, if that's what floats your boat, and you're okay with losing, 15 to 20 pounds, and then, having to continue to do the program because you can't keep it off on your own, like that's fine. But if you don't learn how to track, you don't learn the importance of all the macronutrients, which we've done so many masterclasses, and we'll continue to reiterate them over and over again because they're so crucial for the nutrition side of things. If you're not 100% certain about what you're doing on the nutrition side of things, and you don't actually learn what you need to do this for the rest of your life sustainably, you will be lost in the woods all the time. Because if you lose weight through Weight Watchers, for example, if you lose weight through any program for that example, and you aren't taught or you're not learning the very simple methods, honestly, it's easier said than done, but the very simple methods required to keep you where you want to go and do it in a sustainable way, then you're always going to just revert back to your old habits. I've seen it so many times over the years.
So weighing food kind of the right way, what is tracking? So tracking, you'll need two things. You need a tracking app. So a very common one is MyFitnessPal. It's kind of what we get all of our
That's probably the best one to use.
You don't need to, there's a premium version now. For years, it used to just be free for all the features.
Yeah, and like if you got it many years ago, you have the premium version. Like I can scan barcodes still, but it's because I had it like 10 plus years ago.
So you need that, and then you need a food scale. So you can get a food scale from Superstore, Walmart,
Amazon,
if you're in the States,
anything.
Other
doesn't
places,
matter.
Trader Joe's,
Anywhere,
It doesn't. So we suggest a digital scale. It's just the easiest and cheapest. You don't need anything fancy. And so what tracking is you're weighing everything you're eating in a day, including coffee cream, oil, all food, not like sauces, every single thing that you eat that has calories, you're weighing out on the scale and you're inputting it into MyFitnessPal or another app.
Yeah, that's right. And so there are some instances where you can get away with not tracking something. So like if I'm using like hot sauce and the calories are very low.
So like Frank's Red hot sauce.
Yeah, well there's many hot sauces and many sauces that you can use. Like mustard is another one where you could weigh out your mustard, but then it gets a little bit tedious, and most people don't need to weigh sauces unless the sauces are calorically dense, like a barbecue sauce or a mayonnaise or something, that if it contains a lot of excess sugars or carbohydrates, or if the sauce contains a lot of extra fat, like I said, like a cream sauce or a mayonnaise, you absolutely have to weigh those out. So that comes down to understanding calories as well. Like you always want to look at the label of whatever you're putting on your food at any given time. It's that simple, right? And like MyFitnessPal or any tracking app is going to give you the ability to look up the food that you're about to eat, and so you can then say, okay, I'm having 150 grams of this, or I'm having 100 grams of that, and it will tell you exactly what you're about to eat. Like in terms of your carbs, protein, and fats, it's going to tell you like this is how much it's going to be. There's 30, 40, 50 grams of carbs, X amount of protein, X amount of fat, or whatever. Okay, but the key is you want to make sure if you're using if you're using sauces with a bunch of fat in it, you want to make sure that you are tracking it, because obviously if I'm slathering on a bunch of mayonnaise on my food, for example, it could be like hundreds and hundreds of calories. But if I'm putting a bunch of mustard or a bunch of Frank's Red hot sauce or a low calorie hot sauce, when I say low calorie, I'm saying less than 10 calories per serving. Then if I'm layering that on, chances are maybe it's an extra 20, 30, 40 calories on my food. But if I'm layering on a bunch of mayonnaise or a cream-based sauce, it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of calories. And that's where a lot of people get tripped up.
So you can have two meals, like, so we can have a chicken and rice meal here and a chicken and rice meal here. This one could be 700 calories. This one could be 300 calories. And the difference is this person cooked it in oil. They have a bunch of sauce on it, and maybe they have more rice, for example, than protein. And then this person doesn't have the sauce, or they have a 0-calorie sauce and it's not cooked in oil, and it looks exactly the same, but it's just obviously they have oil and they have higher calorically dense things. So when people say like, I eat healthy, but then they're like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight, we have to look at like what is actually in your meals.
Yeah, that's right. And so that's how two identical meals can be so different in calories, right? And that comes with time. Like that comes with experience and time. You're not going to understand how to do something perfectly right out of the gate. But yeah, like if I had a chicken and rice meal here and a chicken and rice meal here, and the chicken and rice meal, let's say over here, I just did a couple sprays in the pan. That's how I cooked my chicken, and like a couple of sprays of like a cooking oil. And then that's how I cooked my chicken. And then I just added like salt and pepper as my seasoning. And then I just had like Frank's Red hot sauce and mustard. And I just had chicken and rice portioned out the same as the other plate. But the other plate was cooked in oil, like she said, had a bunch of like mayonnaise or some sort of fatty sauce on it. Like that second chicken and rice meal is going to be way higher in calories, 100%. So that's something you really got to pay attention to. And that's kind of an example I've used before in previous master classes, and I'm going to just use it again because it's the best way to look at it for sure. So,
going into just like the weighing side of things with the food in general, I want to talk about like cooked versus raw weights, and then I also want to talk about measuring cups, like instead of measuring on the scale, doing it with measuring cups, and like our take on that. So cooked versus raw weights. So personally, I weigh everything cooked except for oats and oats and egg whites, I would say, are my two that you weigh raw.
Right. I mean, weighing out egg whites cooked or oats cooked would be like impossible because you'd have to cook them first.
And then whole eggs, you don't need to weigh out. You just put like one whole egg or two whole eggs or how many whole eggs you have. So basically everything else though I weigh cooked. So I would cook my chicken. I would cook my my sushi rice, which is what we use or whatever rice you use, and then any veggies and stuff I still weigh cooked as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's there's certain things that are just easier to weigh cooked. Like it's much easier to portion out cooked meat because you can cook a bunch of it at once and then you can portion it out individually. Whereas like if you cooked a bunch of raw meat at once, how are you going to portion that out individually? You're going to just cook 7 different portions of raw meat. Like it's just very unsustainable from a preparation side of things.
Yeah.
For oatmeal, like she said, weighing your oatmeal raw makes perfect sense because you're not going to make a huge pot of oatmeal and then just portion it out. Oatmeal's only good right when you cook it.
You add water to it, so obviously you would weigh more.
That's right, yeah. And so same with egg whites as well, right? There's certain foods too that I don't think a lot of people don't talk about this, but there's certain foods that are better enjoyed right there and then. Like you're not going to prep egg whites or eggs for 7 days.
Yeah,
like you want to cook eggs or egg
unless
whites.
it was like an egg bake or something.
Yeah, so if it's like eggs were included as an
like
ingredient.
Scrambled eggs, probably not.
No, I've never seen anyone prep scrambled eggs in advance. That would be really crazy. Like that would be kind of gross, honestly.
Like there's dishes that I do. Like I did a really good chicken Mediterranean bake, and I do it raw, obviously, because I put it all in a bake together and then cook it. And so in that instance, I'm weighing it raw, but I'm making sure that it's accurate. And doing the calculations in raw because it's cooked from raw in the bake. It's like a one pan.
I know.
But if we're generally just like meal prepping chicken, I would cook it first and then weigh it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, you're not going to just like cut up a bunch of raw chicken and then be like, okay, well, this is 150 grams raw here, 150 grams. Like you got to cook it all together if you want preparation to be. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of pans going, just cooking a bunch of chicken. It doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah. And so moving into like measuring cups. So obviously for me, like using measuring cups over not weighing or doing anything at all is better than nothing for sure. But the most accurate way to weigh your food is a scale. It's just there's like that's it. Like it's just a scale weighing something in grams. So
yeah, absolutely. When I was young, like when I was like 17, 18, I was cutting, and at this time, like I was tracking my food 100%. But there were still certain things I was using like tablespoons for. Like for example, olive oil. Like I was just right to the brim, or like peanut butter. I was taking it like like the peanut butter would be overlapping the tablespoon a bit. I would go like this with a butter knife to make sure it was like completely flat. And so like she's right, like you can still utilize cups and tablespoons to your advantage, but honestly, I stopped using them a while ago because it's just not accurate. If you weigh out peanut butter with a tablespoon, or if your tablespoon is heaping, or if you're grabbing a cup of oats cooked or something, I don't know, or a cup of oats raw, and it's heaping, like you're gonna have different values every single time.
I've had it before, I have had it many times before where a client is using measuring cups to track everything, and then we move them to a scale, and they've hit a plateau or they're not losing weight, and then they lose weight when we use the scale.
Right,
many times.
Odds are if you're using cups or tablespoons to measure your stuff, by the way, if you're doing that, there's no way every single ingredient you're eating that you're doing that with. There's no way. There's definitely some things that you're just throwing on your plate. Like you're not going like this with every vegetable, potato. You're not doing. It's not like you have a bunch of measuring cups sitting there. There's no possible way, because that would be like if you were making some sort of a dinner and it had like 15 ingredients, right? Like there's no way that you're measuring everything individually like that.
But
there's
also
no
like a cup of potatoes, like that's going to be different every time, the way that it goes into, like it's just
something like potatoes, where they're literally like a whole, like potatoes are big, right? And so if you're taking a cup of potatoes, there's a bunch of potatoes in there, you have no idea how much it is. Every time you do it, it's a different weight. And because tracking is the only way to know how much food you're actually eating, obviously the values are going to be different every single time, right? Which in return gives you a different calorie value, and that kind of just screws everything up. So
we recommend, especially if you've like hit a plateau and you're like, I don't know why I'm losing weight, move to a scale, and that will be such a game changer. I think utilizing measuring cups and stuff can be something after you've learned how to use a scale, and maybe you've lost, if you have a weight loss goal, obviously you've lost the amount of weight that you wanted to use to maintain. Using measuring cups and stuff like that is fine in my opinion, but to actually get to a weight loss goal, guys, it's actually hard to lose weight, and we have to be very, very, very accurate. And so instead of kind of just messing around, I would just go right to the scale, use a scale, you know exactly how many grams is in something, and you input it and you know it's 100% accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. And like one thing with measuring cups as well, or tablespoons, or if that's what you're trying to utilize, the problem with that is like if your measuring is all over the place, which it probably is, because I'd be shocked if it was literally spot on every time. In fact, that would be impossible. It would literally be impossible to do that. What might happen is you might plateau, and then because you firmly believe that you're measuring your food, even if you're not actually tracking, you might start to drive yourself nuts, and that's a really bad situation to be in, where you actually think that you're doing everything you can to lose weight, but nothing's working. When the next step is just to track, so you can actually see how much you're eating. So.
Exactly. I guess last thing, and just kind of about just inaccurate things, is like when people say, I lost my train of thought. That's okay. Oh, when clients are kind of just like, I kind of eyeball things, or I weigh certain meals and then I don't weigh certain meals because I know this roughly has 150 grams of protein in it. Like, you need to track every single thing you eat for it to be accurate, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like the more you track, the more accurate your calories are going to be.
That's just
it's just that simple. It's that simple. Like, if there's certain things you're tracking and certain things you're not tracking, like, yeah, you run the risk of going over in calories. There's some things, like if there's a low calorie vegetable that you're having and you boiled it, like, and it's like if you put 150 grams on your plate, it's like 40 calories, and you can, like, there's certain items you can get away with not tracking absolutely everything, but the more you track, the more accurate your day to day is going to be. It's that simple. Like I said earlier in this masterclass, obviously, you don't have to track mustard or Frank's Red Hot Sauce if you don't want to. I don't, okay? But if you did, you would be, that this much closer to perfection. But I mean, we're not trying to chase perfection here. We're just trying to chase consistency, okay? So,
anything with calories, track it. So that's always my go-to. So just looking into how to input food properly in MyFitnessPal. So I use the scan barcode, but again, that's a paid feature nowadays.
Right, yeah.
So when you're inputting something now, if you use the free version, and again, there's other apps too, but just make sure you search it correctly. Put the entire name of the product. So if it's like Quaker oats, Quaker dried oats, like you're putting that, you're not just putting dry oats. Another common thing is if somebody's like, okay, I'm having a lemongrass soup, but you have to input that as your own recipe. You can't just look up lemongrass soup. That's a common one for beginners. They can just look it up and they're like, oh, perfect, here it is. It's just like a general lemongrass soup.
Yeah, that doesn't work either. No.
You have to input that as a recipe on your own, because whoever made that lemongrass soup, it's obviously completely different than yours.
That's right, yeah, 100%. And a big mistake as well that people make is when they're tracking, they're not using the exact same product that they have, right? And so, like Brittany said, with the barcode scanning, obviously that helps a lot. But if you don't have the barcode scanning, the next best thing you can do is simply try and copy exactly what the item is, and then try to like cross-reference both and be like, okay, these are the same carbs, fats, proteins, and calories. So this is the same item, and even if it doesn't say it is. It's exactly the numbers, right?
Especially when you first start out, it's tedious a little bit. But once you've looked up that item a few times, it's on your recent searches, so then it knows you use that item.
Right.
So it doesn't just it's not like a new item every single time. So
absolutely.
So yeah, just kind of, you can create. Obviously, we can't show you, but you can create your own recipes in MyFitnessPal. So if you're making a protein brownies or something like that, you input everything in your recipe database in bulk, and then you can create the serving size, and then you can eat it that way for dishes like that. They're like a prep ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% for sure.
Yeah. Common tracking mistakes is just obviously like forgetting to track oils, condiments, bites while cooking. And we get asked this lots too, like, is tracking sustainable? In my opinion,
I think so.
I think it is.
It's got to be, you got to make it a habit like anything else, right?
Yeah.
anything that becomes a habit becomes sustainable. Like anything, right? Like, so if someone says, I don't have time to work out, but then they start fitting in 3 workouts a week, and then, 4 months go by and they haven't missed a workout, all of a sudden it's sustainable because it fits into their schedule.
Yeah.
Right? That's any habit you build ends up becoming sustainable because it's a habit, and a habit means you're going to do it regardless of if you feel good or not, right? That's what a habit is. A habit is like your day feels incomplete if you don't do it. That's what a habit is, right? And so if you build the habits around tracking, it will get to the point where it's just a night and day thing for you. It's not hard. You wake up every day, you know you're going to track your food for the day. You're going to go to sleep. The next day will be the same. Every day is the same, okay? And so ultimately, that's how you create a sustainable tracking system for yourself, is you just do it. And you just got to get used to it. If you're only tracking from time to time, then it's not a habit. If it's not a habit, it's not going to feel sustainable because you're like, well, this is impossible. It's just so hard. What happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? But if you just track every single day, even on days where you don't eat the best, just do it anyways. It's not a big deal. Like, it happens. Like, you think me and her are perfect every single day? That's like, we're absolutely not. Like,
so Dylan actually had a client, and she came into the program, and she's like, you guys, I am not tracking. It's not my thing. It's way too hard. It's way too tedious. And we're like, okay, that's okay. And anyways, then a few days went by, and I remember she messaged us, and she was like, you know what, actually, I'm going to try tracking. And then now she loves it. And it's her favorite thing. And she's like, this is so sustainable. I can fit things in still and reach my goals. And anyways, so it's just your mindset about it too. Like, yes, is it a little bit tedious, especially at first? Yes, but once you get used to it, it just becomes a habit.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So if you guys have any questions about like specifics with tracking, always message us. We're here. We've tracked for I've tracked for 10 years. You've tracked for half your life. So any sort of like meals, making it into macro friendly meals is like really my thing. I love it. So if you have any questions or anything like that, we're here to answer it, but that's kind of all we got for you today. So. Yeah,
absolutely. So thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching this later, highly recommend you do, obviously. Well, if you just heard me say that, you made it through the whole video, so good job. So I should have said that at the beginning. But anyways, make sure you smash replay in the comments, ask questions. Let's see if there's any questions today. Just people watching, nothing crazy.
I don't think there's any questions today.
Nothing, just want to make sure I don't.
ChatGPT helps.
Yeah, ChatGPT helps for, like, are you saying for the tracking side of things?
Yeah, probably just understanding the tracking.
Yeah, like if you're asking ChatGPT for help with tracking, it can definitely help you out, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of AI, is like with basic things like that, if you want to, get help with the tracking side of things, you can absolutely ask AI.
Have a specific or like question about
it. Yeah, like AI, I think everyone should probably use AI nowadays to ask questions. Me and her do for a lot of things as well. Yeah. So yeah, ChatGPT definitely helps with like understanding certain things as long as you're prompting it properly. But yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Okay, yeah, if you have any questions, just message us or comment and we'll reply to the comment. I hope you guys have a great day and let's kill it for the rest of the week.
Yeah, have a good one, guys. See ya. Oh, finish.